How's it going, everybody? Great to see you, and I'm glad that you're here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Eric Worre. We're here at Network Marketing Pro. We're here at Worre Studios, and we're here for a very, very important conversation, what we call the Network Marketing Wake-Up Call. We have tens of thousands of people connected live from around the world. Let's see if we can see them up on the screen. There they are. You can see people all over the world. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm excited to be able to have this conversation with you because I believe this is one of the most important moments in network marketing history. Here's what I will tell you. Some of you might know me from the book GoPro. Some of you might know me for what we do with our events at GoPro or Most Powerful Women. Some of you might know from the courses or what information we put out on social. But I've been involved in this profession for 35 years. And in that period of time, I've helped about 1,000 people get to 7 figures a year in network marketing income. I've helped tens of thousands of people get to 6 figures a year in network marketing income. And I've helped millions of people have a nice, fun, part-time business, a little side hustle, make a little bit of extra money. But how many would agree that the network marketing as a profession feels a little weird right now? Anybody? Does it feel a little different? Maybe different than what you felt before? I see some of you agreeing. Some of you are just looking. I can see you, by the way, up on the screen, whether you're on a train or you're in a car or wherever you're at in your house around the world. But a lot of people are telling me it feels kind of strange right now. There's this narrative in network marketing, not for all, but for many, that this feels different. This feels strange. This feels like a substantial change to something that we've been involved with before. And let me give you some of the things that I'm hearing, and you tell me, raise your hand every time you've heard one of these things, okay? For the new person, here's one. My upline is not helping at all. Or they've quit. I have no support. I cannot succeed if I don't have support. Show of hands. Anybody hearing that? Hearing that amongst their team? I just have no support. I can't win if I don't have somebody helping me. Here's another one. Network marketing saturated. Everybody now in the world has heard, because of social media and everything else, everybody's heard about network marketing. They've made a decision, yes or no. Anybody have that thought or have heard people on their team saying, I'm talking to people, they've already made a decision, yes or no? Yeah? Here's another one. People aren't interested in network marketing, or it's way harder where I live. You don't understand. In the United States, it might be good, but in Colombia, it's impossible. It might work in Germany, but in Spain, they're just not having it. It might be working in Australia, but in Italy, people just have a bad taste in their mouth. Anybody heard that one, or anybody have felt that one? It's harder where you live? Anybody? It's everywhere. I'm hearing it everywhere. See, I've got this unique view of network marketing that I don't think anybody else really has. I see it all. I see all the companies. I see what's working, what's not. I see the conversations that are happening in the field. And I'm going to talk to you about how we got there and what we're going to do about it. But this theme across our profession right now is a little louder than it's normally been. Let me give you the fourth one. It's a tough economy. The products are just too expensive. People can't afford my product for any extended period of time, and they certainly can't afford to start a business. Has anybody heard that reason why it's difficult to grow? Show of hands. Some of you have heard this. People just can't afford it. How can we expect to bring people in when they can't afford it? How can we have people start a business when they're just trying to pay their bills? It's a difficult time, especially in my country. In my country, it's even more. United States, they might be able to afford it, but in Portugal, not so much. So that's another one. Here's a big one. Those of you who have teams. I can't get my team to go to work. I just can't get them to go to work. They're just sitting there. They're sitting there. People are lazy today. Or sometimes they say, I can recruit people, but they just won't do anything. I bring them into my business. They're just looking at me like the Walking Dead. What is going on? Why are my people not working? Is it this generation that doesn't want to work? Is it what's caused this idea that people are just sitting there and I can't get my team to do anything? And there's another kind of offshoot of that is my leaders. I can't get my leaders to do anything. My leaders hit a certain spot and they've decided that they don't want or not willing to go to the next level. That one's everywhere. I deal with high income earners all the time in masterminds and otherwise. And across the board, they're just like, something changed post-pandemic. And I can't get my leaders to go to work. Some of them got casual. Some of them kind of are playing defense. Some of them are just sitting there collecting a check. I don't know what to do because I feel like they're an asset, but I can't get them to be an asset. If any of you have struggled with this, you're not alone. Seventh one, regulatory requirements are making things harder. Regulatory requirements, making things harder. I can't say what I used to be able to say. I used to be able to talk about how much money I was making. I used to be able to talk about what the product did for me and did for others in detail. But now my company and their compliance department, they won't let me say anything. I can't talk about, even though it's the truth, here's what I really did make. Here's what my upline really does make. Or here's what actually really happened with the product or the service for my customer or for myself. I want to be able to say those things. And now it's annoying that I can't say them. And because I can't say them, I can't have the success or the results that I used to be able to have. One thing that I skipped, I'll go back one, is for the guys for helping me with the slides. No, forward one. Yeah, there we go. The things that used to be working aren't working anymore. Have anybody experienced that? I was doing this on social, or I was doing this and I was doing that, and it was working great. It was working amazing. And all of a sudden, just overnight, it stopped working. And now I don't know what to do. I was talking with $1 million a year earner, very dear friend of mine, who was like $1 million a year earner now, who is saying, I'm struggling currently emotionally. I'm just going to be vulnerable with you, Eric. Emotionally, I'm struggling to bring people into my company and into my system because what used to work for me is not working. So I have this crisis of confidence as far as, can I tell them what to do that's going to get success? Anybody have had that feeling at all? That things that were working have changed a bit, feels a little bit different? So here's another one. There's just too many changes. My people can't keep up. I can't keep up. There's compensation plan changes. There's product changes. There's price increases. People can't keep up. And because a confused mind does nothing. It's difficult for my people to be able to manage this change. There's change fatigue. The company's doing what they can do, rolling things out, making adjustments, but my team just can't keep up. And because they can't keep up, they're getting a little discouraged. And because they're getting a little discouraged, they're doing less than they were doing. Isn't this an encouraging list that I'm providing to you right now? I promise you, there's answers on the other side of this. There are solutions on the other side of this. But I just want you to know, if you're hearing this, you're not alone. There is an answer. We'll get to it in a few minutes. But here's another one that's going around the world for sure. I can't get my team to engage like they used to. Post-pandemic especially. People have Zoom fatigue. Anybody have people that's just like, I'm sick of Zoom. I'm just not going on any more Zooms. I'm tired of it. Or after the pandemic, people are just not willing to travel for events like they used to. They used to be willing to go to the company's event, but now they'd rather just stay home. So I can't get my people to engage. After pandemic, people don't want to travel for events. I don't know what to do. So here's another one. This is a big one. There are just way too many distractions. There's so many ways for people to make money right now. You could resell a course. You can get a license to do this. You could become an influencer. You could become a coach. You could have some online, thing. And there's so many, even other companies inside of your product category or your service category. I'm sure in recent years there have been competitors that have popped up, and the distractions, people are like saying, ooh, look at that company. They're doing this bell, this whistle, this little fancy thing a little bit different. How do I keep my team focused? Because in today's world on social media, there's so many options. People want to be affiliates or influencers or YouTubers. New companies, new competitors popping up, making things a little bit of a distraction. Here's another. Social media is changing. It's just much harder than it was. The algorithms have changed. I used to be able to duplicate using social media. Now I'm not duplicating at the same rate. Anybody heard that or played around with social media and it's kind of like, it's different now. There's so many platforms. Where do I post? What do I do? How do I do it? How do I get engagement? How do I convert those people into customers or team members? Social media's changed dramatically. Here's another one. My leaders are tired. My leaders are tired. They're just tired. They're burned out. They're overwhelmed. And here's a big one. A big one under my leaders are tired is one of their lines of sponsorship, maybe it dropped down in the last 12, 18 months. Last year maybe. And now your leader on your team is faced with the prospect of having to rebuild. They had this idea in their mind that they could build it once, have it for forever. And having to rebuild is discouraging. It's like, no, I got to put my work clothes back on, and I've got to go rebuild this line. I thought I was there. I thought it was, kind of stable. I thought I had this thing kind of locked in. And now, As a result of all of this, some people are thinking around the world, network marketing, this rumble, whisper. Maybe network marketing itself, maybe it's in trouble. With all this technology, with all this change, with everything that's happening with social and people's attention spans, things feel different. Maybe, who knows? I can't tell you how many people have asked me, where do you think networks marketing is going to be in 5 years or 10 years? With everything in the metaverse and everything else and all these different things that are going on. Is there a place for network marketing in the future? So here's what I have to tell you, and I want you to listen to me, okay? And I say all this with love. Every single thing on this list that I just provided to you has been the same for the past 35 years. It's the same list. It's the same list from when I started in 1988 with a couple changes. It's the same list of limiting beliefs that we have bought into that have repeated themselves over and over and over and over for the past 35 years. Same. It's the same. There's nothing different. Of course, maybe the style has changed. I was talking to some people in GoPro Academy right before I started this Zoom, and I told them, when I got started in network marketing, guess how we got leads? We ran ads in the local newspaper. And Help Wanted, local newspaper. And I remember there was one person who ran an ad in that market, and then there was 2, and then there was 10, and then I remember that one week there was like 50 different ads for the same company in the Help Wanted section of the newspaper. And everybody had the same limiting beliefs. It's over. It's saturated. Too many people have heard about it. There's no opportunity anymore. Now people are saying the same thing, but they're pointing it in different directions. None of this is real. It's a complete illusion. So one of the things I will tell you that has made it feel different recently was the pandemic. The pandemic created some unintended consequences that were real. And it created some weakness in the organization that is absolutely real. And each and every one of us is responsible for how we responded to the pandemic. Let me give you an example that might be helpful to you. If you have a professional level person, okay? Think of like a pro sport, any sport, a professional, top of the game. Then you have kind of the semi-pros. Then you have college. Then you have high school. Then you have grade school. Then you have peewees. Okay? And think of that like the farm team, the developmental team, you guys being pros, and then people as they went down, how did they move up through that structure? By getting stronger, getting bigger, getting more talented, becoming tougher. How many of you consider yourself tough? Raise your hands, please. If you consider yourself a tough person. What made you tough? Getting punched in the face and getting up. What made you tough? Having adversity and having to deal with it. What made you tough? Rising to the occasion and doing something because nobody else was willing to help you do it. Having to rebuild made you tough. Having somebody quit your team and go to another company, tell lies about you, made you tough. Having to do the thing in building your business when nobody was watching made you tough. Driving across town to do some home presentation and nobody showed up. And having to spend the time re-enrolling your distributor because they're emotionally disturbed after inviting 20 people to their house and nobody showed up. That made you tough. Facing your fear, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, that made you tough. So here's what happened. You got pros all the way down to peewees, right? Pandemic hits, bang. Within 2 months, the pros did everything. And we stopped asking the rest of the group to be tough at all. We didn't even ask them to practice. They didn't get punched in the face. We didn't ask them to do any presentations. We didn't ask them to go face their fears. We didn't ask them to do anything other than drag people in front of you, the pros. That's all we asked them to do. So for about 2 years, the pros did all the presentations. The pros did all the training. The pros did all the closing. The pros did all of the promotion for the online events. The pros did it all. And there was a spike, if you remember. For most companies, there was a spike in productivity during the pandemic for the first about 10 months or so. The first 10 months spiked, and everybody was like, this is amazing. I don't have to leave my house. I can push buttons, and I can lead my whole team. Everybody's making money. It's unbelievable. But the pros were doing everything. So the spike happened, and then this list of unintended consequences just showed up. Upline, saturated, economy, people are lazy, times are changing, regulatory issues, there's too much change, my team won't engage, the distractions and competitors, leaders are tired, things feel different, okay? That started to show up after about 10 months on average. Some of you went through the pandemic and you still have growth. I'm just telling you, what ended up happening is the leaders got a little bit tired at some point, the pros, because they were doing everything for everybody. And eventually they took the ball and they said, they gave the ball to their developmental team. And those people took the ball. They got hit one time. And they burst into tears and say, I'm never doing that again. They didn't get punched in the face. The wind blew in their face. They started crying. Am I right or am I wrong? So much systemic weakness within the organization came as a result of the good-hearted pros doing everything for everyone. So this list, it's all bullshit. It's the same old stuff. It's nothing new. And I'm here to tell you this. The next 3 years, this is why we called this a wake-up call. The next 3 years is going to be a tale of two cities. Just like Dickens. For some, it's going to be the best of times, and for others, it's going to be the worst of times, depending on what you do with this moment right now. And I'm telling you, days matter. I'm not talking about years. Weeks matter. I'm not even talking about months. You have to make a decision now of what you're going to do in this moment and how you're going to respond to it. Go back one for me in the notes, because here's the thing. It's going to be disaster, total disaster for people who try to play defense and hold their team together. Gosh, please, team, hold together. Come on, we can weather the storm. And if you coddle and enable bad behavior and poor, weak belief systems, it's going to be a really bad 18 months for you. I'm just telling you. Some of you are experiencing some of this already. Last 12 months especially. But for others, this is the opportunity. This is your moment. This is your moment to be able to capture the market, to be able to gain market share, to be able to lead when people are not leading, to be strong when people are weak. Throw up that list of limiting beliefs again. You throw that up for me? So take a look at this. My upline isn't helping. Is that a real reason not to succeed? Or is it an illusion? It's a complete illusion. I grew up as a network marketing professional when I said goodbye to my upline, not as a friend, but as an excuse. I went to my upline and said, thank you for introducing me. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it, but from this moment forward, I'm not going to use you as an excuse for my lack of performance. I've got this. I'm going to go make it happen. That's the kind of mentality you have to infuse into your organization. If you say, oh, sorry, your upline's not active, if you enable that belief system at all, you are responsible for creating weak people. People say things are too expensive. Yeah, that sounds good. Things are too expensive. Go to Disney World and tell me how the economy's doing. Go to Disney World. Watch people throwing money at Disney World as hard as they can throw it. It's not about the economy. It's about you as leaders framing your opportunity and framing your product. Even like the regulatory issues, they're annoying for sure. Not being able to say what you used to be able to say. Here's what I will just tell you. And great leaders need to just frame this to the organization. We've been operating like the wild, wild west for way too long. And there's been irresponsible claims being made on behalf of the companies and the products that are not appropriate to be made. There are 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise prescription drugs to consumers. 2, New Zealand and the United States. That's it. Do you think the pharmaceutical companies are complaining that they have to put disclaimers on their ads in order to advertise in the United States? Do you think they're just, well, we might as well not advertise. We might as well not even try. They're like, no, thank you. Yum, 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 yum. We'll put all the disclaimers on you want, because they found out that the consumer doesn't care about disclaimers. If there's a chance that this is going to help them with some symptom that they have, yes, consult your doctor. Results may vary. And here's the 15 ways you could die. This way, 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 this way. They don't care. If you're responsible with your product claims, if you're responsible with your opportunity claims, you need to pursue it with the attitude of the pharmaceutical marketing establishment, which is, I have to find a way to responsibly promote my product and responsibly promote my opportunity. Now, your compliance departments are doing things that are in the best interest of your company and of you and of the profession at large. All you have to do is be better. You have to be a little bit more clever. You have to be a little bit more responsible in how you're promoting these different things. So let me be straight, okay? I said this was a wake-up call, and it really is. If your upline isn't helping, then it's time for you to get stronger. And if your upline's not helping somebody in your team, then it's time for you to help them to become stronger, become independent, not dependent. Think network marketing saturated? I've heard that for 35 years. It's the biggest pile of nonsense ever. The world and opportunity will never, ever run out of a need to do 2 things. Educate the consumer, which is what we do, and use word-of-mouth advertising to refer somebody to a product or service. That's why we're not going anywhere. Saturated? It's nonsense. People on your teams are telling you that it's saturated. People aren't interested in network marketing. It's different where I live. Nonsense. Here's what happened post-pandemic. Get it? I want you to understand something, and because this is really important. And you as a group have to lead the change. After that spike, that 10-month spike, when all of a sudden everything was working. And then after the spike, you started hearing mumble, mumble, mumble. Things aren't working. Regulatory, they won't let us say anything. There's too many changes. Can't get my team to engage. There's too many distractions. Social media is changing. My leaders are tired. Network marketing, mumble, 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 mumble. And it felt different because of pandemic. It felt like maybe the pandemic accelerated something that was going to happen, and systemically something changed. So there's enough grumbling in your downlines that it filtered up as a group. This whole list filtered up as a group to the leaders on the team. And the leaders are looking at each other. Are you hearing this? Are you hearing this? Yeah, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it everywhere. My team's frozen. Yeah, I'm hearing it too. This is weird. This is bad. Some start playing defense. But if the leaders buy that story, which is an illusion, let me tell you what they did next. They went to the company. As a leadership group, and the company's like talking to each other. Did you hear this from that leader? Did you hear that from that leader? Oh my gosh, we got to do something. Sales are down a little bit. These people are frozen. The leaders aren't recruiting. Things aren't, this is changing. And most of the time, the companies overreacted to the input from the leaders that was infected from the input from the field. And they overreacted and started throwing promotions at it and start throwing contests at it and double volume and 2 for 1 and buy one, get one and this special and that special. If you create, and it made your teams addicted to promotion instead of the compensation plan. The compensation plan should be enough to be able to incentivize people's behavior, not some special promotion on top that kills the margin of your company and kills their ability to innovate. So I want you to understand, and I'm talking to all of you as leaders, who's responsible to make this change and move forward? Is it the companies? Is it the field? It's you as the leader. You stand in the breach. Company on this side, field on the other side. And your belief has to be so strong, so certain, so convicted, so laser focused that this list of limiting beliefs does not even get any oxygen. You reframe it in a moment, and you don't let it gain traction inside of your team. You start hearing it, you do a training, and you flip their perspective, and you turn it into an opportunity, which it is. Would it surprise you to understand that every single one of these things is an opportunity? Every one. Every one is an opportunity for a real entrepreneur. And it's an excuse for somebody who's trying to get something for nothing or hoping that they're on a free ride for the rest of their lives. The amount of money to be made in the next 18 months and the foundation to be made in the next 18 months is going to hinge on your ability, number one, as a leader, to infuse your belief into the people who bought into this list. You create a leadership group that says, I'm in. I'm ready to go. This is an advantage for us. Let other people be discouraged. Let other people be frozen. Let other people be paralyzed, but not our team. Our team's going to take this moment. We're going to run hard. Days matter. Weeks matter. Our competitive advantage is our team's going to be laser focused while everybody else is totally panicked. We're going to be calm in the storm. We're going to approach it with urgency. We're going to gobble up market share. Because when I said a tale of two cities, sometimes even in the same company, there's going to be some organizations going straight up, some organizations going straight down. Some bought this list and some refused this list. That's your responsibility. That's what you're here to do. Okay? So on one side, you're standing in the breach, holding your field with the right mindset and perspective in order to be able to succeed and not buy into these limiting beliefs. And on the other side, You're infusing your belief into your company. Would it surprise you to realize that you are necessary for your company to not overreact to market circumstance? Would it surprise you to realize that your company needs some encouragement too? That your company needs some belief thrown into them from you? That your company needs a thank you every once in a while because they're working hard and they're not feeling much of it? All they're hearing is complaints? Would it surprise you to understand? You, ladies and gentlemen, every single one of you, are the giants holding the entire profession together with your company and your teams. And you can either rise to this moment or you can fade. You can either say, yes, I'm going to take this moment to run and capture it all, or you're going to become a victim. And don't worry about it. If you become a victim, if you become a statistic, if you become somebody who used to make money in network marketing, it's all right. You're going to have plenty of stuff to blame it on. You got a whole list. Wasn't my fault. It was this stuff. How could I survive this? It's impossible. And the other people are going to say, yum, yum, yum. This list is my opportunity. This list is how I separate myself from everybody else in the world. This list is how I go from invisible to being a superstar inside of my company. This list is what's going to turn me from a leader to a legend. This list will make me a household name in the next 3 to 5 years. This list. Not smooth sailing, not the first 10 months of pandemic, not when your company was in momentum. It's when you face challenges. That's when a leader needs to show up. So I don't know if you're buying this or not. You're buying what I'm selling. But let me tell you what, if you're in my world, my orbit, I'm going to be so annoyingly loud about this and about what you need to do in order to capture this moment that it's going to get uncomfortable. My job is to help you become uncomfortable enough that you're willing to change. Some of you don't even consider yourself a leader right now. You're like, hey, I just came to learn a few things. Stop talking to me like I'm a big shot. Every single one of you has the opportunity to go to the top. Every one. If you get it here, and you're ready to go, don't tell me how old you are. Don't tell me how long you've been involved in network marketing. Don't tell me your story. I'm not interested in your story of why, the list of reasons why you're not more successful. What I'm interested in, are you going to use that experience, success or failure, in order to lead the next generation, or are you going to simply fade? Are you just going to fade away? I think it's time to be loud. I think it's time to be strong. I think the world is ready to reward that type of behavior. So what's going to make a difference the next 18 months? What's going to make a difference? Here's what's going to make a difference. Mindset, number one. Mindset. This is an opportunity. This is not an obstacle. This is not a tragedy. This is not our own little network marketing pandemic. Change your mindset and decide, I've allowed, with rare exceptions, when a child is acting out, who's responsible? The child or the parent? The parent. So you, metaphorically, as parents, have allowed some bad behavior to creep in and some temper tantrums to affect you. And you need to be strong and say, you know what? Relax, get your shit together. Let me just sit your ass down and let me tell you what's really happening here. If I hated you, I'd let you have this belief system. But I don't hate you. I want you to win. So sit down, and in addition to getting your mind right, victim or champion, Let me give you some perspective, number 2. Let me give you some perspective on regulatory compliance. Let me give you some perspective on market saturation. Let me give you some perspective on social media. Let me give you some perspective on people being lazy. They're not lazy. They're just not being led. Do you understand? People aren't procrastinators by nature. They haven't heard a vision from you that's compelling enough for them to face their fear and do the thing that they weren't willing to do without you. Us as leaders, our job is to get them to do more than they would have done without us. That's our job. So you got to flip this perspective. People are not lazy. Don't be that cynic that says, oh, this generation, nobody wants to work, blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Be a better leader. Infuse your vision. Make it so strong, so powerful in their minds that they see a better future for themselves and they're willing to take action that they wouldn't have taken. You can change the perspective of your entire group on every one of the limiting beliefs that I described and any other ones that show up. If your vision gets strong enough, guess what? Your team won't even dare bring it up because it'll be embarrassing if they do. They won't even give it any oxygen. They won't even try. Some people are addicted to the significance they get from complaining. You need to stop rewarding that behavior. And remind them, you're not a victim. Come on, you're a champion. I see that in you. I don't see this victim in you. And you don't need to give me all the drama in order for me to get, in order for you to get significance from me or the team. You're going to get more significance from production than you do from complaining and drama. So mindset number 1, perspective number 2, skills number 3. Number 3, what builds confidence? Competence builds confidence. You as leaders need to improve the skill set of your organization. For a while, yes, they could just follow your instruction, turn their brain off, just breathe, do as they're told, and get some results to get launched. Fine. But at some point, they've got to learn how to find prospects. They got to learn how to start conversations. They've got to learn how to pivot that conversation to a business or a product conversation. They got to learn how to do a presentation in a way that works and duplicates. They got to learn how to answer questions, overcome objections. They have to learn how to help a person enroll. They have to learn how to promote events. They've got to learn how to be a leader. So mindset, perspective, skills. Who's this all on? It's on you. 4th thing they need is strategy. Strategy. We do need to pivot. We do need to pivot. How many of you have been an entrepreneur in your life outside of network marketing? Raise your hands. Let me see. How many have been an entrepreneur? If you've been an entrepreneur for any period of time, here's what I'm going to tell you, and you all know it. Every entrepreneur, especially in today's world, needs to pivot every 3 to 5 years. A significant pivot. Things get a little stale. You got to change some things up. Am I right or am I wrong? Every 3 to 5 years, there's a pivot that's required. You got to approach, you got to make sure you're using the tools that are working today. There are things that were working on social media 2 years ago that aren't working as well today. There are consequences for people only doing things online and not in person as well. You might have to pivot to a little bit more in person as a blend with what you're doing virtually in order to be able to get better results. You got to pay attention to what's working today, not just what worked someday. You got to look at strategy and you got to be willing to adapt to what's working in the world today because it's changing fast and it's going to continue to change fast. Now, I'm not talking substance. That whole arc that I just described, that's not going to change for the next 50 years, but style will. It used to be on the phone. It used to be just face-to-face in person. Then we added social media. Then everybody went crazy. The pendulum swung to social media only during pandemic. then it swung back a little, right? What's working today, this moment, within your organization and within the whole profession of network marketing? I keep my finger on the pulse of what's working right now, not what sounds good, not what rhymes and not what's catchy, but what is actually working. And the fifth thing that's required to make a difference is leadership. Leadership. You being the best form of you being the best leader you can be, you being the champion, okay? I never considered myself a leader when I first got started in this profession, but there was nobody else around. So I just said, you know what? I'll lead until the real leader shows up. And you know what happened? The leader showed up, and it wasn't somebody else. It was me. I copied what other leaders were doing, and I did my best to model that behavior while I was waiting for a professional to show up in my market. And pros did show up, but by that time I was already a pro. Coming from nothing. So I don't care what your story's been. If you can get your mindset right, if you can get your perspective right, if you can get your skills right, you and your team, you get your strategy on point, you get your leadership strong, I cannot express to you strongly enough how big the next 18 months is going to be for you. I literally can't. It is one of those moments in network marketing history that 20 years from now, people will be talking about this 18-month window and how many superstars were created during this time. This is the time for you to flex. During this period of time, you need to be prepared. During this period of time, you need to, sleep is expensive during this period of time. You need to run, not walk, and certainly not play defense. Some of you, I'll give you all a challenge right now. Some of you need to rebuild to your current rank right now, starting today, not counting any of your existing team. Rebuild to your existing rank and use that and document that process and use that story to smash every limiting belief that's inside of your team. That people say, well, you're just telling me to do it and you're not doing it. Oh yeah, watch me. Some of you are like, well, that's, it took me a while to get there. Yeah, but now you're more experienced. Now you've got this information. Now you know that these limiting beliefs are an opportunity. Now you can come in with wisdom and strength, put the work clothes back on again. You can do it. Some of you have been in a coma for a long time. You've been taking selfies and kissing babies and showing up at events, and nobody could accuse you of not building your business, but you know you're not doing now what you did to get you to where you are right now. If you're honest, you know it. I'm just saying go back to those roots as a documentary, as an example to show the entire team, watch me, follow me, do it with me, let's run. So I have a big question for you. The question's this: are you ready for the opportunity in the next 18 months? Are you prepared to be able to absolutely capture this, crush this? How many are ready? Raise your hands if you're ready. No joking, no kidding. I can see you. No joking, no kidding. Second question, what's your plan? What's your plan to be able to capture this opportunity? Are you ready? Are you prepared for it? Third question, what would it be worth to be prepared? To really be prepared? To have answers to all of this? To be prepared with what's working right now, to be prepared to be the strongest version of yourself. What would it be worth to you and your team and your future? Some of you have teams that need to be rebuilt. Some of you have teams that need to be inspired. Some of you don't have a team and you have unfinished business in this profession, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're sick and tired of crawling. You're sick and tired of living underneath your potential. You've been beating yourself up, and it's time for you to stop crawling and start running. So I don't know where you're at today. What would it be worth to be prepared? Next question is, what will it cost you to miss out? To have this next 18 months come and go. You're playing defense. You're riding that check. You got your list of excuses as to why you're not doing well. Nobody can blame you. You can convince your family it wasn't your fault. You can convince your friends it wasn't your fault. But it was your fault. What would it cost you? How are you going to feel? In 2 years, average people became legends. In 2 years, average people totally changed everything. And you missed out. What would it cost you financially? But even more than that, what would it cost you emotionally? To say, I was there. I was on that wake-up call. I heard the message, and then I let life get in the way. And because of that, that's one of the things I could have done, I should have done, I hoped to do, but I didn't do. The emotional cost is more than the financial cost, to be honest with you. So here's what I will tell you. I'm 100% committed. I am so fired up. I am so focused. I am so ready to do everything I can to help you and your team be ready for this and to capture this moment. Like I told you when we started, I've helped almost 1,000 people, 1,000, make 7 figures a year in network marketing. I've helped tens of thousands of people make 6 figures. And I've helped millions of people have a nice part-time business. Let me ask you a question, okay? Think about this for real now. If I agreed, I got my finger on the pulse of all this stuff, I know what's working, 35 years, I've helped a lot of people. If I agreed to train your entire team, every single person on your team, active or inactive, but I agreed to train all of them for 3 full days, how many people could you get to attend? If I gave them everything I know about recruiting, about team building, about duplication, about leadership, if I helped to prepare them for the opportunity, how many people could you get to attend me doing a 3-day training with them? Hopefully it'd be a big number. I don't know what your number would be, but I think you'd be stupid not to. I mean, if you had to convince them and get past all of their limiting beliefs, well, then do it. Now's the time to be a leader. Not the time to sit back and say, well, yeah, you know, Eric offered the training, but they're busy those days. You got to be a leader now. Another question, what if I agreed to come to each one of their homes in person and do the training? What if I agreed to do that? Would that make it easier? Probably would, right? How about if I came to your house and I sat down and day 1, I teach you everything that you need to know how to become a recruiting machine. Bring in new people, excited new growth in this amazing opportunity. Day 2, I teach you how to build a team and how to create duplication. Instead of having a team that just stares at you, people that are actually doing something. And day 3, I teach you how to be an effective leader. And not only a leader, but a leader of leaders. What would that be worth? Be pretty good, right? Could you get people to engage in that? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to provide 3 days of training directly to every person on your team. And I'm going to come straight into their home. I'm going to come straight into your home. Right here, from this location where I'm having this conversation with you right now, on December 1st, December 2nd, and December 3rd. We're hosting the GoPro Experience. The subtitle, The Wake Up Call. The GoPro Experience, 3-day event. Now this is going to be different from recent and other GoPro events. If you've been around for a while, you see these events that are promoted. Nothing against them because I've done them too, where it's an ocean of 500 faces that are going to be speaking at that event, and they're all speaking for 12 minutes each. You ever seen those? It looks like a dance recital. Here's all the people that are going to be on stage. It's 8 million trillion people. This GoPro, I'm the only trainer, with the exception of a couple of celebrities. So day one, I'm going to give you a 6-hour training, me training, 6 hours on recruiting. How you and your team can become a recruiting machine. Recruit on demand, recruit at will, recruit friction-free. Day two is going to be me training for 6 hours on team building and duplication. Everything I got, what's working right now in the world. Day three is going to be me training for 6 hours on leadership and building an empire. That's what's going to happen day three. And then I've got a few celebrity guests, maybe a few panel discussions, and then we have the $1 Million Hall of Fame that's going to happen. But this is going to be different. It's time to dig deep. It's time to go hard. It's time to be strong. So this event, I want to implore you, there's never been a more important event in network marketing ever, certainly not in our universe, ever. This moment in time, you have to capture the opportunity. Now, everybody on your team, I asked you what it would be worth if I provided that training and they showed up with you and you showed up with them. 3 days, 18 hours from me, plus some special guests, plus a few panels. An online ticket for that event is $197. That's it. Tiny little price of entry for $1 million worth of information. You can get a VIP ticket if you want. It includes general admission perks, but there's 2 Q&A VIP lunches. There's VIP Zoom background. You get a replay of previous GoPro events. That's $497. And in person, there's only like 10 tickets left, 15 maybe. For a platinum ticket, that's VIP here in the studio with us. Lunches, receptions, big party. It's going to be a pretty amazing room. We're almost sold out of that. But here's what I got to tell you. This is a moment. There's absolutely no doubt that network marketing is a better way. None, zero. And if you're ready, this can be your moment. This next 18 months can be the time that you experience your breakthrough. This can be the time that you change everything. And I'm just telling you from my heart, I can help you. I can help you and your team prepare to crush it. Really, and no kidding. It's time to walk away from the excuses. It's time to take action. It's time to be prepared for every single thing that the next 18 months to 3 years is going to throw at you, and that's what we're going to deliver over 3 days. 3 days. Now, there's no replay for this event, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's live. I don't care where you are in the world, it's going to be live. If you're in New Zealand, it's going to start at 2 a.m. Okay? If you're in Europe, it's going to start at 5 or 6 p.m. and it's going to go for 8 or 9 hours each day because we have lunch breaks and stuff like that. Now, why would I do that? If you're in Australia and you're flying over to the Vegas to be part of this event, your body's going to be upside down, right? And you're going to spend thousands of dollars, time out of your life, time away from your family. I'm just asking you to be upside down at home for 3 days. 3 days to absolutely get all the information. Second reason why we don't do replays and why it's live is because I'm not in the business and I'm not interested in sending you a 3-day event that you're never going to watch. You're not going to sit down there and watch it with the same intensity of that being live. You're just not going to do it. I don't want to have something in your inbox that you don't use. That's not my purpose. I'm here to help you grow, and I'm here to contribute to your journey. What gives me joy is contributing to you and seeing you have a breakthrough that you deserve, to be proud of yourself. You know what I live for? The tap on the shoulder. 3 years from now, that says, excuse me, you don't know me. My name's Holly, my name's Nat, my name's Tina. And I was there December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And I changed everything. And my whole family's changed and my team's changed and I'm top 10 in my company and I live for that. I live for that. It is what drives me every single day. I can help you and your team crush. If you're willing to take one little tiny step, and that one little tiny step is to click on the link that's connected to this. Take one step, okay? The link connected here, GoPro2023.com. If you click on that link and get yourself registered today, get your team to do the same thing and clear your calendar for December 1st through the 3rd. Clear your calendar. Pretend you're on the North Pole. Lock a door inside your house. Negotiate with your family. Tell everybody, leave me alone. This is for our future. We're going to use this to close 2023 strong, and we're going to make 2024 the year that changes our family. Click on the link. And I will tell you, for those that do it today, I have something very special for those who make the decision today. This should be an easy decision for you. You either want this or you don't. If you feel like I'm prepared to help you, and if I'm equipped to help you to go faster than you would have gone, this is the time for you to make a decision, okay? Like I said, something special for those who make a decision today. And I'm of the belief, any reason you have for not doing it right now that's rolling through your head is the reason why you must. If you're saying, I don't have $197, you must find a way so you don't have to think about that anymore. When you say, I've got language issues, you must figure out a way to have somebody sit with you and translate if necessary to get the information to change your life. You're like, I might be busy around that period of time. You must clear the calendar so you have more control of your time and of your life. You just have to do it. Or you don't. Look, I love you regardless. But what drives me is your success, not your participation. What drives me is your progress, your breakthrough. That $197 is not going to change my life one iota, but it can change yours. So click on the link. I got something very special for the people who make a decision today. And I'll see you all on the other side. I hope this message finds you in a place of total focus and determination, belief, conviction, and certainty, because this magical moment is going to be a moment that changes lives, and I want to be a part of it. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you on the other side. Take care. But I know where to start. They tell me I'm too young to understand.